And thank you for staying with us. The COVID-19 pandemic has presented a lot of challenges, particularly for students and teachers in the academic curriculum, as extracurricular activities are also being affected. Well, the Young Investors Empowerment Club is a financial club teaching investment to 7th to 10th graders across the South Bronx as well as Westchester County. The club has recently transitioned into a fully online interactive experience, reaching a larger audience as well as complying with COVID-19 restrictions in New York State. They've partnered with the National Young Investors Society to create weekly interactive lessons from covering stocks, the economy, portfolio diversification, as well as other topics. And so here joining us to share a little bit more is the founder and director and the head of the curriculum at Young Investors Empowerment Club, Jonah Levine. And Jonah, good to have you.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, listen, when we talk about, where we are today, certainly a lot of people have been impacted and you have to stay indoors. But I mean, for you, you've taken the opportunity to take investment. And even though people are behind closed doors working virtually, this is something that really young people can really stay connected to no matter COVID-19 or not.
Yeah, I would have to say so. Being online and everything, it really presents, a challenge, but also kind of an opportunity to bring the club to a much larger audience than we would be able to do if we were just in person. So, having the opportunity to streamline the curriculum and just offer it to a really large group of students is, for me, it's a really great opportunity for us.
Yeah. So introduce us a little bit to the Young Investors Empowerment Club. I gave a little bit about the intro, but for somebody who wants to know it on basic terms, tell them all about it.
Yeah, definitely. So the club kind of started off humble origins, started off small. It was just me teaching a group of 6th and 8th graders at PS3 in the South Bronx. Just, we were going over investment curriculum, stocks, portfolio diversification, just stuff like that. And, after the club got shut down last year, thanks to COVID, we couldn't do anything in person. I kind of started to think about just, wanting to offer this experience to more students. So thanks to that, I was able to get a grant from a organization in Westchester, and that helped me set up a website. And through the website, I've been able to, with the help of some other students from my school, I've been able to develop curriculum that we're going to use for this upcoming year. So curriculum stuff includes like stocks. Really important stuff is researching stocks online. What is a stock? How do we look at stocks? Portfolio diversification, all of this stuff like that, just so we can help students start to become familiar with the terminology related to stocks. Because, a lot of students would be interested in this stuff, but there's kind of a barrier there because of the language and because of kind of there's just kind of a barrier. It has to do with the language and there's other stuff, but what we're hoping to do is break down that barrier and kind of allow more students to get into this type of stuff.
And when you talk about being receptive to stocks, and there's a lot of heavy language, as you said, a lot of heavy language, a lot of information that's being passed on, and most of all, you're talking about money. And sometimes that can be a challenge to some, but I know you do a great job of really breaking down the walls to allow students to have the opportunity to really take part. So tell us about the students that are actually taking part, because not only have you been able to do this on a local level with students in the Bronx and Westchester, I know that also you got some national partnership as well.
Yeah, definitely. So in terms of our local partnership, we're working with Sobro, which is a community organization in the Bronx that I've been connected with for the past few years. And our hope is to distribute the club across their network of schools intended for our target audience in 7th to 10th grade. In terms of Westchester, still working on that. We're looking to get about a dozen schools signed up. We don't know how many students they're going to be, but we're expecting around 100 to 200 students from Westchester. And for our national partnership, it's actually something we're pretty excited about. It's the National Young Investors Society. I'm actually on the board of the organization, and it's going to be helpful for us because we're using our lessons as sort of an interactive lesson. So they can really be completed at any time, but it still involves videos and activities in the lesson. And fortunately, the Young Investor Society, the national club, they actually have those resources that are available to use for us. So we're going to actually be able to integrate their library into our lessons. And we're talking about professional videos and professional activities. So it's definitely something that we're pretty excited about to be able to have.
Yeah. And so how does it work? I understand that students have money to work with, and of course it's not real money, but talk about that and how they're able to actually chart their growth.
Yeah, definitely. So that's really the most important part of our club. And students really wouldn't be too enthused to just sit down every week for an hour and just do a lesson and have to take notes and stuff like that. That's not really what students want in a extracurricular activity. So what we've done is we kind of made that the second part of the club, and really the first and foremost part, what you talked about, is the competition and the investing. So we work on a website. It's called Investopedia.com, and actually each student gets $250,000 in fake money, and they're able to invest that in stocks and bonds and ETFs. And we have a game set up specifically for our club. So throughout the club, we'll be able to track how students are doing, which students have made money, which students have lost money. And also throughout the club, we're going to be offering rewards for students who finish in first place after a certain amount of weeks. So there'll be cash prizes.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. And so talk to me about the attitude of students knowing that they have this fake money, but it also gives them the opportunity to, when they have their own, to be able to transition into real life and go right into it.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of why we're doing the fake money. Obviously, it presents a really good opportunity for the students to really take risks and to really do just experiment with things that they might not be aware of, and that so when they get real money and when they start investing with real money, they're more informed investors and they feel more comfortable. So that's why we start with the fake money.
Yeah, yeah. So what's things looking like this year? I mean, of course, COVID-19 has definitely impacted everybody. Talk to us about what's going to happen this year.
Yeah, so it's definitely been a challenge, obviously, with COVID and just doing everything remotely and trying to set it up that way. But I think we've been pretty successful and we're looking forward to it. So, like I said, we're working with Sober on the Bronx. We're going to be hopefully distributing it across their network. They work with many schools in the Bronx. So, hopefully, all the schools that Sober's in, we're going to be offered. That doesn't mean students have to, but, just as an option for them. And as well, in Westchester, we're trying to distribute it to schools as well. Just let schools know that this is this is offering for you. Let the students know it's no pressure to sign up, but we just want students who want to take the course and who are interested in this material. We want them to have that opportunity.
Yeah. And do you get these students who had initially had no interest whatsoever, and all of a sudden you find themselves being glued to the club? Is that some of the success stories that I'm hearing?
Yeah. Part of the reason that happens, and yeah, that does happen. Part of the reason that happens is because of the competition and because of kind of almost the cutthroat aspect. When students are pitted against each other, it almost doesn't even matter what it is, right? They always want to win. They always want to come out on top. So setting up the club like that for us has been really successful because, students might not have a deep interest in this curriculum to begin with, but when we start bringing the competition and we start offering prizes and we're saying, look, you can beat your classmates in this and you can be the best at this, that's something that all students want. So yeah, that's definitely been a successful part.
And when did you start for yourself?
I've been teaching the club since this is going to be my third year. Like I said, the first 2 years I did it, it was just me and I was just teaching 6th and 8th graders at PS3. We just set up a mini version of what I'm offering online right now. But this year I'm working with 2 of my classmates from my high school as well as the National Young Investor Society Club.
Yeah. And so for students, say for instance, there's a student out there watching right now and say, listen, I want to be a part of this. This is what I want to get. I want to learn. What can they do?
Yeah, definitely. So we're still in the setting up phases. We're looking to start our curriculum and release our first lessons probably in mid-October, just because, with the online school, after school curriculum, it's kind of second to school. So we just want to make sure schools are set up and everyone's good before that. But definitely, if any students are interested, or if any, parents are interested for their kids, or if any school directors are interested, you could definitely reach us. We have a website with our contact. That's going to be at www.younginvestoремpowerment.org, or you could just send me an email, younginvestoремpowerment@gmail.com.
Yeah. Having a program such as this, what do you feel it makes a difference in the life of students who take part?
Yeah, well, hopefully that's really my goal is, I just think this is a huge, huge shortfall in our education. This is stuff that's immediately applicable to your life. Like you get out of high school and you're immediately going to have to deal with your finances and this is real life. And so I think giving students an early start in this and letting them become familiar with the terminology and with the options and really breaking down the walls and showing that, buying stocks, it's not that complicated, or, putting your money in a bank, it's not like this is something that everyone can do. So just for me, I really hope to give students just an early shot, and the earlier you start, the better. That really goes for everything, including this.
Yeah, yeah. And so as we talk about your program, I want to talk a little bit about, you talk about stocks, you talk about investment. What are some of the other components that actually your students will actually get a chance to learn?
Yeah. So obviously that's kind of our main focus is stocks and investing, but we do talk about several other things. So that can include some, we're going to touch on economics just as it relates to stocks, stuff like, interest rates, unemployment, stuff like that. And then in addition, we're going to, towards the end of the course, we're hoping for older students, maybe for students in the 10th grade, we're hoping to touch on some personal finance. So, talking about stuff like opening a bank account, opening a stock brokerage account, debt, interest, stuff like that. Just to offer like a well-rounded curriculum.
Yeah. And you're doing all this, and it's amazing because you yourself are a senior at Mamaroneck High School. Talk to us about, you're still in high school and here you are, just full throttle.
Yeah. Well, I've been interested in this for a long time. I had my own business that kind of stopped during COVID, but thanks to my business, I was kind of able to have some money, and I really started investing it, and it was really awesome for me. I really love seeing the money grow. I love picking different stocks, and I just like it's something that immediately resonated with me. So, having the opportunity to, work with younger students and, yeah, I'm not a professional, but, I think I think it's something that I know pretty well. And it's something that I'm really happy to, work with younger students with.
Well, it's great that you're doing it. I mean, it's great that you're empowering young students. Being a student yourself, I mean, it's a great story. And for you to have the opportunity to even pay it forward and give back while you're still getting it yourself is quite awesome. And so, before we go, let me ask you: for those who want to get connected to you, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, as I touched on before, just the two methods. Definitely visit the website. Even if you're not interested, just check it out. Younginvestoремpowerment.org. Just type that in your browser. And my email is younginvestoремpowerment@gmail.com.
Well, Jonah, keep making a difference, and thank you for what you're doing. I mean, it's really empowering people, and it's a great story. I mean, you yourself being a high school senior, and you're still giving back. Great story. Thank you so much for work.
Thank you. Appreciate me having me on.
All righty. Well, thank you. Why don't you stay with us? We still have more show coming up here on Open. Don't go anywhere. We're coming right back right after this.